All right. Good. All right. Good afternoon. My name is Stuart Swinney, and I am a project specialist for the Northeast Georgia Regional Commission. And this is Lydia Joffrey. She's the Regional Commission's Historic Preservation Planner. I'm here I'm here today to inform you that Athens-Clarke County is applying to the Community Development Block Grant Coronavirus Program, or as it's shortened, CDBG-CV, on behalf of the Food Bank of Northeast Georgia, for the purpose of expanding the facilities of the food bank. Okay. All right, so a little bit of background about CDBG in general. The original Community Development Block Grant Program came out of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. The projects funded under this program are housing activities, public facilities, and are targeted toward economic development. Right? And the primary objective of this act is the development of viable communities through the improvement of living conditions and to expand economic opportunities in cities and counties, and especially with a focus on people who would be categorized as low to moderate income, and those numbers are usually determined by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Okay, and here's what the CDBG, the original CDBG program, addresses. It is the 3 national objectives: benefit to low and moderate income persons as determined by Department of Housing and Urban Development, removal of slum and blight, and any sort of immediate threat and danger.
We're having some technical difficulties. If you can just hang on 1 second.
Okay. Is it muted? All right. And so the original CDBG program was started by Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. And so just to give a little bit of background, this was an act passed to fund projects related to housing activities, public facilities, and for the purpose of economic development. The primary objective of the Housing and Community Development Act is the development of viable communities through the improvement of living conditions and the expansion of economic opportunities in cities and counties, as well as particular focus on persons of low to moderate income as determined by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. And here are the 3 national objectives as outlined under the CDBG program: is to benefit low to moderate income persons, as I described as defined by HUD, is for the removal of slum and blight. This is just for parts of the city and our county that have been identified as experiencing deterioration in quality and possibly facing condemnation, and to make the area safer. An immediate threat and danger could have anything to do with natural disasters or any other sort of occurrence. All right. And to specifically address the Community Development Block Grant Coronavirus Program, this originated with the CARES Act of 2020 that was just passed last year in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. An allegation was made to states to prepare for, and respond to COVID-19 through funding from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. In total, the state of Georgia received almost $83 million from the Department of Housing and Urban Development for this particular program, including administration. Generally speaking, all typical federal requirements associated with CDBG funding apply to grantees and subgrantees. In addition to the CDBG regulation, DCA, the Georgia Department of Community Affairs, and its subgrantees must adhere to all additional requirements, and these are outlined in the Federal Register notice that was passed last year. And this is just an additional explanation of what low to moderate income is, as defined by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. All right, typical CDBG activities would include infrastructure, housing, those sorts of parts under the national objectives. But the CDBG CV program uses the CARES Act funding to fund public assistance activities, which includes the construction, rehabilitation, or enhancement of public facilities. And this may include expenses for food banks. And in this case, the application that the Athens-Clarke County government is working on with the Food Bank of Northeast Georgia, this is the objective that we will be focusing on.
Okay, there are some basic limitations. Applicants for CDBG funds must be local governments. Therefore, that's the reason why ACC is applying on behalf of the food bank. And the activities that are being funded must primarily benefit low to moderate income persons. Ineligible activities from the CDBG program include the items you see listed here. Funding cannot be provided for the acquisition of furnishing, grant assistance to a for-profit business, or acquisitions of movable equipment, machinery, or generally new construction of new housing, things of that nature. For the CDBG CV program, there's no maximum grant amount for this application cycle. The Athens-Clarke County government is applying for approximately $2.7 million for this project in conjunction with the Food Bank of Northeast Georgia. The identified match for the project of $900,000 will be provided by the Food Bank of Northeast Georgia. Applications are compared to like applications, and bonus points are available for readiness to proceed. The grant rating system will evaluate demographic need, program feasibility, program impact, program strategy, and leverage of additional resources. Finally, as per federal requirement under the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA, a full environmental review of the project site will be completed by March 2022. And all CDBG CV applications must be submitted by November 19th, 2021. And if you have any questions about this presentation or the CDBG CV application process, please contact the Northeast Georgia Regional Commission, and you can contact Stuart or myself, and you can find our contact information on this slide.
Oops. And just to add this, the CDBG CV application is very unique to the COVID-19 pandemic. It was part of the CARES Act that was passed last year by Congress and signed into law. And so this one specifically pertains to food banks and assistance to food banks to meet the needs that were exacerbated under the pandemic. Regular CDBG is based off of, as an annual fund that it comes from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, is dispensed by DCA. Athens-Clarke County is an entitlement community that receives funds for projects every single year, and low and non-entitlement communities are smaller towns and more rural counties that can apply for funding for infrastructure projects, housing and economic development, senior centers, those sorts of things. And so this one is specifically pertains to food banks and the way they were impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.